When you think of Penticton, you probably reminisce about a city between two lakes, in the middle of wine country. Beautiful beaches, water sports, outdoor adventure, with world-class rock climbing and cycling. A true Four Seasons paradise. Plus renowned for being the host community for so many festivals and events. Yet you undoubtedly will also reminisce about its rich hockey history. From the 1955 World Champion Vees, the Okanagan Hockey School being the longest continuously running hockey school in the world, the BC Hockey Hall of Fame, and having one of this country's most storied junior hockey franchises. In this series, we will look at Penticton Vees past, present, and into the future, and go behind the scenes as the current BCHL champions fight to defend their title.
This one's for you, Penticton. The Vees are 2022 Fred Page Cup champions.
On the road, and in the locker room, what billet life is like, game day production and broadcast, the BCHL All-Star Game festivities, and of course, the playoffs. This and much, much more. Veesnation, making hockey history. Today, we follow the Vees playoff run.
Well, I think playoff hockey means a lot. There's so many different components to it that make it so special. You look back at last year's run, we lose the first game of the playoffs to the 8-seed opponent at that time, and maybe to the outside world, it's kind of panic time. But for us, we were ready to embrace that challenge, and we kind of stormed on to 16 straight wins there. We kind of just showed the team we had. We had everything on that team.
Oh yeah, the playoffs mean a lot to me as well. It's coming to the end of a season, right? So, every game is more meaningful. It doesn't matter if you get an overtime win or a shootout loss. Everything is the same. It's a win and a loss. You battle with these guys so hard throughout the year that you just don't want to just give the other team that opportunity to take that from you. And you want to get to that end goal of being able to hoist that cup over your head. And, we have the opportunity to do it right now, and we just gotta embrace it and just make sure that we know that every game is going to be our last game together, and we just got to make the most out of every opportunity we get now.
Yeah, you have the great regular season that we had, and I think there's always pressure, and it's whatever you make of it, I guess, and the expectations are what they are. But when you have when you go 50 wins, 3 and 1, and clearly, on my side of it, I really wanted to see this group kind of finish it off. And you see a lot of different things that happen in the playoffs. It's never guaranteed. A lot of people, you could tell even around town, were kind of thinking it was just a foregone conclusion, and that's the wrong mindset going in. And you look in the National Hockey League playoffs that's this same year, and Boston Bruins go and, have the best regular season in the history of the league and out in the first round. So, you're going against Trail in that first round. We played against them a year ago. They kind of stung us in game 1 a year ago, and we were going to make sure that that wasn't going to happen again this year. And you know, they were a team that actually, you know, did well on the power play against us. They were a team that had a lot of tenacity to them. Trail's never an easy place to win, but you could just see. I thought the first game, even maybe the first 2 games, but the first game at home we looked a little nervous. It's like it's funny, like you win all those games, you win 50 games, and it's like a reset. And you know, we seemed a little tight in game 1 and making plays, but then we kind of fought our way through it. And you know, by the time we got to Trail, you know, the biggest thing that happened in Trail is we lost Ryan Hopkins to a broken collarbone, you know, and that was a bit of a blow to our back end there in game 3, and felt bad for him. And unfortunately, he'd gotten hurt the year before in that same building. And but you know, to be able to get it done in 4 games and not create a travel situation back and forth to Trail was real nice. And I thought that we built a lot of momentum from that series and worked extremely hard. Then you get ready for Wenatchee, and they're an interesting animal where a lot of us on our staff had picked them to finish a lot higher than they did going into the regular season. We thought that they were a little inconsistent, but had a lot of firepower. They, you know, the Samoza, Littler, and then you had Parker Murray, who had scored 12 goals in the first round of the playoffs. And you know, when you put that in perspective, the year before, I think Josh Nadeau was tied for, you know, the goal lead in the playoffs. When the playoffs were done, he had 12. So, you know, we were going to face a team that could score, a team that's traditionally pretty strong on home ice. And, you know, I thought we did a remarkable job. You know, I think our penalty kill really our power play was outstanding all year. Our penalty kill, you know, finished 2nd overall, but you know, after the first round, I think we gave up 3 goals in the first round on the kill to Trail, and then you've got this offensive team that was kind of clicking, and our kill did an outstanding job, only giving up 1 5-on-3 goal to Murray, and that's the only goal that he scored in the whole series, going from 12 to 1, and clearly shutting down their big guns was the reason we were able to finish the series again in 4 games and got our rest under us. I think we started to believe that, hey, this is something that we can do, and now you're getting to play for another banner in the interior, you know, final against the Salmon Arm Silverbacks, who had a lot of success again in the regular season. A team that has physicality, a really good goaltender. You know, we had played a couple times late in the year, had some good games. There was 2 different times in the regular season where they had us down by 2 goals, and we came back and beat them, and you know, handled them very well in games 1 and 2 of the playoffs. Go to their building, and you know, it was a tight back and forth game. And you know, I know that there was a lot of controversy. They felt on their end that we got a power play with a minute to go in the game, but what a lot of people on their side forget is, you know, they were given a 4-on-3 power play that they scored on a, you know, a pretty, you know, below average tripping call on our goaltender, which the referee came over after he watched it on video between periods and figured they kind of made a miss, and they scored on that. They had another power play with 8 minutes to go that could have put the game away and didn't score. And obviously we get our power play with a minute to go, pull the goalie. We still had to score that goal, and we still had to score in overtime, and that was obviously a backbreaker for them, putting them down 3-0. And I think the way they handled it, we knew that we had them at that point. Even though we lose the next game, we knew we had them, because just the way they didn't handle their emotions properly after that game. And I've been on both sides of it. I've won, I've lost. I've been doing this a long time, even before I came to this league, and it's easier said than done, but when you lose your emotion and your players gets to sense it, it's hard to recover from it. And the next night, obviously, we had a back and forth game. It's our first loss, you know, since a shootout loss back in February. And, you know, again, the difference there, we handled it very maturely. Hey, it's a loss is a loss. And I knew by the time when we got back to Penticton that night, I could sense in our guys, when I stood up at the front of the bus, which I do every time we get back into town. You know, the last little while I'd stand up and, you know, you guys, you could see that they were listening to you, but, you know, it's kind of the whole hum, here it goes, another speech. And this time everybody's eyes were on me. They were all sitting up. I could tell we had nothing to worry about, that we were going to win that next game, and we came out flying in that next game, and winning the interior at home was awesome in front of our fans, and got us ready and you know, for the final test. And it was something that we had built for obviously all year. We wanted to, you know, we talked about going back and trying to repeat right from day one. It was something that hadn't been done since 2010-11 and hadn't been done in Penticton since 85-86. And now here it was upon us, and against a very good Alberni team that we had 2 strong games against in the regular season, once in the showcase, once in their building. You know, again, we had a couple tight games here at home, and we felt confident going into their building. They had gone, I think they had won 12 in a row in their building, and I think they were 19-1 since Christmas at home. But we felt real comfortable going on the road, and to be honest with you, the fact that they had a big crowd there, we're used to playing in front of big crowds at home, it just made it even more exciting. And was so proud of how our guys handled those 2 games there, and closing it out, and doing it in style, doing it with class. You know, to be able to handle what happened in that last game with Spencer Smith going down in the injury, you know, to the injury, the way it went down, and how our guys were able to, you know, to play for him the rest of that game, and fight through those emotions was remarkable. And again, so proud of this group, and it was so happy that they were able to call themselves champions now, and because a lot of the different storylines, different things that they did, put them in a class where you had to consider them as one of the best teams to ever play in this league. And I felt that I coached the other team that was the best team of all time in this league, the 11-12 team, and those guys are in the BC Hockey Hall of Fame and the BC Sports Hall of Fame, and you had to win in the playoffs to be able to be considered with that. And once we did that, you know, I let them know that no slight to the 11-12 team, they're dear in my heart and outstanding, but this team here in today's day and age probably, you know, takes it one little step above that. And so they get to have that title, you know, until somebody knocks that off, and it's going to be hard, because when you play a 54 game schedule and you only lose 3 games and 1 shootout, and you lose 1 game in overtime in the playoffs, it's pretty hard to match that or beat that, and you have to be almost darn perfect to do that. And so again, all the credit goes to the guys, the organization, all the way top to bottom, the coaches, and just be proud. I'm just proud and grateful that I was a part of it.
People always want to talk about the skill and all this other BS, but you know what? There's a lot more that goes into it. And if it was just about skill, we'd probably be getting ready to watch, you know, the Edmonton Oilers against the Boston Bruins in a couple weeks, and that's not happening, right? So I think our guys really cared about each other, and you saw it tonight, and they played hard for Smitty.
You're always measured on playoffs, you know, even though at this level there's a lot of development that goes into things, and it's a developmental league. But you know, I'm proud that in my 16 seasons, 2 of them, you know, one of them you couldn't play, there was no playoffs because of COVID. The other one was cut off after the first round. That in those other years, those other 14 years, every year but one, we won at least 1 playoff round, and to go to the finals 7 times, and to win 6 of them, it's, to me, it's a testament of this, our ownership, the commitment they put in. You know, to be able to keep me, you know, here that long, to allow our coaching staff to have guys like Steve Cawley that's been around 10 years, and you know, Matt Miller, and all these guys. Like, people forget like how many years our staff has been around, and even now we're gonna have a little reshuffling, but you know, Steve's gonna go not from the bench, but he's gonna stay with our program. And you know, that starts with our ownership, and then that it allows us to want to stay and work, and then you go and get those players, and you know, this group of players are going to help recruit the next, and so on and so on and so on. And so for me, it's just, you know, I think it's part of that legacy piece that me and Graham have talked about hundreds of times between the 2 of us, that you know, when we're gone, like we've left something here in Penticton and not going anywhere yet, but that's something we're really proud of. It's a great question, and it's funny how it works, right? It's emotional for sure, and what I would say, how you know, kind of how it works when you've got a great team and a great group of guys, they're always looking, like they're excited about what's next, and you know, we don't want players that just want to be Penticton Vees. We want them to go on and excel at the NCAA and then on to pro and that sort of thing. But one of the things we've really talked about is really enjoying the moment and be in the now, and it's worked for us. But it's funny how it works is like, you can tell there's moments during the regular season where I'm sure guys are, you know, watching what their college is doing and they're looking forward to that next step. But when you get close to the end and when it is over, win or lose, but even maybe more so when you win too, is that, you know, it becomes almost, you know, a little sad because they're all of a sudden it dawns on them that, hey, I am leaving, and they're gonna, you know, they're not leaving the program. They're always gonna be part of the program, but, and maybe even a little, you gotta remember, these are, you know, 20-year-olds, 19, 20, 18-year-olds that are maybe a little scared too. All of a sudden it dawns on them that they're going to a new challenge and they're going to a whole new set of circumstances. And you just, you know, as a coach, I always remind them that they're always gonna be part of our program. I'm personally always gonna be there. I'm a text away or a phone call away to help in anything I can do down the road. And anybody that's watched, I think it's Friday Night Lights, one of the final scenes, the coach is, you know, kind of marking off, he's taking sliding the players' names off a board and he's adding new ones. And, you know, it's hard. You're standing in front of a board in my office that when you open it up, that's what I have. And when you erase those names off, the different names for the last time, it's emotional. But you know, again, it's one of those things that it's part of the game, and then it's my job to make sure that we put the right names back on those spots.
What can you say about this group, these 13 guys that you battled with for 2 straight years and won back-to-back championships with?
Great group of guys, brothers to me. So fun the last 2 years doing this with them. So happy you're able to win.
You really immersed yourself here with your teammates, you know, your billets, you're really close with them. How hard is it going to say goodbye now that the season's over, your junior hockey career's over, as you get ready to go to college?
Tough. Yeah. Very, very tough. Gonna miss these guys, gonna miss everybody. Yeah, gonna be very, very emotional saying bye to everybody, but yeah, all good things gotta come to an end, and yeah, we made so many memories and that we're gonna be able to cherish for the rest of our lives, and yeah, we made the most out of it here, and that's all you could ask for.
Yeah, you won 2 championships, you won a buttload of games.
Yeah.
Is there one or two, it's probably hard to ask you this on the spot, but is there like a memory or a couple memories? Is there something that you're going to miss the most about your time here in Penticton?
Yeah. Coming to the rink every day, seeing the guys, hanging out away from the rink, lunches, every single day, doing all the stuff. Yeah, being with the guys, that's something I'm going to miss every single day, the next little bit for sure.
And then lastly, what would you say to the future, like, potential recruits about your time here? Any advice to you guys coming into the program?
Come here. It's one of the best programs, and if not the best program in Canada in junior hockey. And I mean, if I didn't come here, I wouldn't have found the love and the passion for the game and met these amazing group of guys. So, oh yeah, you make so many memories here, and you have an amazing time. And might as well give it a shot.